To another episode of Founderama. Now, I'm a startup funding advisor. I'm an angel investor. I'm also part of a syndicate of family offices and angel investors, and I facilitate funding, matchmaking, and all that. But at the core, I'm actually a brand strategist, and I've been a brand strategist for many, many, many years, right? So, and I've worked on brand strategies, positioning, brand story development, message frameworks for hundreds of clients over the last, I don't know, 10, 15 years, including, all the way from mom and pop stores to all the way to ESPN, the US Army, and, Target and all that. So, brand strategy is a passion of mine. And I've created tons and tons of articles and videos on all sorts of topics related to branding. And so today, the topic is building a brand strategy that will make your startup stand out. And so it's a fun little topic. Today, I wanted to talk specifically from a startup perspective, funding, and all that. So I will try and keep this non-technical, right? So I don't want to do an episode of the technical details of brand strategy in the sense that the frameworks, and I will do those eventually. Maybe this week, this whole week, I might do you know episodes on brand strategy, story, and things like that. Okay, so let's see how it goes. So your brand is your startup's lifeblood, and having a powerful brand strategy can make all the difference in a crowded market, right? So I've noticed, and okay, so as a startup funding advisor and also as an angel investor, I get tons and tons of pitch decks on my desk every single week, and one of the common there are many common pitfalls, right? So I see diabolic financial projections. I see crazy kind of market traction projections and things like that. But the worst of these all is really the way pitch decks are presented, the design, the brand or the lack thereof. And so it's very important topic that founders need to get acquainted with. So understand the essence of your brand. And I see that founders and a lot of startups don't really pay attention to the essence of their brand. First, define your startup's mission, vision, and core values. Now, a lot of startups do have a mission and they have a vision. Very few have core values, but even if they have all these things, they're not in the right kind of frame, so to speak, right? So you have them as okay because we need to have them. We're solving this problem. That's our mission. Yes or no? Because your problem and solution are today's kind of frame of reference. You're solving a problem that you see today. Your startup might pivot later on. Therefore, having a mission vision that is bigger than the current problem you're solving is the way to go. Identify your unique selling proposition. Okay, if you're solving a problem and it's being solved by others in the same market segment and you're doing it a little differently, that could be a USP, but that can easily be toppled, right? Someone else can enter the market, they do it a bit differently. So differentiation is important, but is differentiation your USP, right? You got to think through. So you got to work on your USP from a strategic point of view and not just as a surface level or peripheral. You're just scratching the surface and saying, well, we're different because instead of using, I don't know, instead of using PHP, we're using Ruby because it's faster. So be very careful with your USP. Create your brand personality and tone of voice. This is fundamental. 80%, maybe even 90% of the startups that come across my desk, that I evaluate, that I look at, they lack a personality. and a tone of voice. Their pitch decks, their messaging, I go and check out their social media profiles, I check out their websites, nothing. There's no consistency. There is no personality. There's nothing. And it pains me because these are the fundamentals of your brand. Look, yes, the technical aspect, the SaaS product or service, whatever you're developing, yes, those are really important, but your brand, the essence, the personality, the tone, those are equally important, especially when you're seeking two things. The first is investors to come on board. The second is your customers. And in fact, if you are bootstrapping and before you go to pre-seed or seed, you're trying to get some traction, so you have maybe an MVP out there and you're trying to get some user base, it is much more important to have the right kind of brand personality and tone and messaging and story to attract so that you have a great traction before you go in front of investors. Consider your target audience and their preferences. So to do this, of course, you need to consider your target audience, their preferences, their pain points, and of course, that talks about buyer personas and things like that, right? Okay, so once you have that, create a memorable visual identity. So, of course, yeah, I need to get this out of the way because everybody thinks branding, brand identity means it's just a logo. So why not? So yes, it is, of course. Logo is a part of it, but it's much more than just a logo or, for example, color palette. You do need these. These are important. These will set you apart from the sea of noise, but typography, color, logo, these are just the basics. These are things that you start with, right? And so that you have consistency across all assets and channels. Having consistency is the biggest thing. Look, you may think you're sending your pitch deck to an investor, a potential investor, and they're going to take a look at it. So what? So you gotta you put in a logo that was, I don't know, created. Most of the logos on these pitch decks, they look pretty bad. Trust me when I say this. Most of the startups, when they're seeking $500,000, $1 million, their branding sucks. It's very important because look, your potential investors will go and check out your social media channels. They'll check out. It's not just the pitch deck, so you got to pay attention to your visual identity. Then you got to create compelling and engaging content, right? So you need a content strategy that resonates with your target audience. So you're building your ICPs, your personas, buyer personas, and all these things. And from that, you derive your brand story, your messaging framework, and your content strategy. Because look, let's face it, content is the way you communicate your values, your value and your values, your kind of what it is that you're setting out to do, your vision, mission, everything is communicated through content, right? At the end of the day, and in fact, even your SaaS, your product, everything is content. Something that will be consumed by an audience is called content, right? So you need to have a content strategy right from the get-go, from day one, and actually getting in front of potential investors should be done after you've had your content strategy, you've been producing content, because they're going to go and check you out. And also to bring partners in, to bring your customers in, content is the key. Use various content formats, right? So blog posts, videos, social media, all that. If you don't have time because you're a founder and you're bootstrapping, find the time, right? Find the time to create compelling and engaging content based out of a content strategy that is targeted towards your specific target audience, which you should have profiled by now. You should have your ICP, ideal customer profile, buyer personas, avatars, archetypes, and all these things. Emphasize storytelling to connect with your audience emotionally. So storytelling is not just for marketing. Of course, it is for marketing, but it also for this stage the stage at which I'm trying to focus on for this episode, which is you're bootstrapping, you're trying to get to pre-seed, seed funding stage. So therefore, there are two things here. One is your target audience in the sense of your actual target audience, right? So these are the customers you're trying to bring on board. The other is your investors, potential investors. And storytelling is important. In fact, when I work with founders and startups and I'm an advisor on their board and I'm helping them put their pitch deck together so that we can put it in front of investors, the biggest thing that I emphasize is storytelling. Every slide is a story to tell, even if it's a slide that's talking about your milestones. Tell it as a story, right? Your vision, mission, that's a story. Your business model should be a story. Everything is storytelling because it connects emotionally with your target audience. So measure content performance and adjust your strategy accordingly. And this is to do with your target audience that you're trying to get as loyal to your brand, to your startup. Let's say you're trying to attract, you have a funnel and you're trying to attract the right kind of audience so that at the end of the day, they become part of your core customer base, right? For that, you need to monitor content performance to see, okay, are videos working? Are blog posts working? Not just about vanity numbers, right? So you need engagement. That's why it's content performance, not just if your blog post has, or if your LinkedIn post has, I don't know, 200 likes. What's the point? Who is liking it? What is the content? Why are they liking it in the first place, right? And is it edging towards your ultimate goal of attracting the right kind of customers? That should be important. Next, building brand awareness and credibility. Leverage public relations and media outreach. So public relations is such an important factor. And people think that the founder posting a few LinkedIn posts a week, a few tweets, that's it, right? Wrong. You need to have a PR strategy. Now, when I say PR, who is the public? Yes, your target audience, your core target audience, your potential customers are part of the public, but also potential partners, peers, your startup ecosystem kind of support structure, and importantly, investors, potential investors. So you need to use public relations and media outreach. Collaborate with influencers and industry experts. When you collaborate with industry experts, your brand awareness sort of shoots up. You get credibility because you're working with others. And credibility is nothing but your ability to work with others, to collaborate, either with partners, with vendors, with suppliers on that side of the board, and with your customers, your potential customers. All this form the credibility equation, right? Because it's all about trust. It's an exchange of trust. And therefore, working with influencers and industry experts in your market segment, that creates that kind of brand awareness and credibility. Engage in content marketing and social media campaigns. Of course, it goes back to the previous one. And of course, industry events, speaking opportunities, do that. What do you think I'm doing now? Why am I doing this? Because this is a part of the content strategy for me and my incubator, where we angel invest and we invest in founders and all, but also Founderama, which is a community that I'm building that I will curate and then put in front of the syndicate of family offices and angel investors and facilitate matchmaking for funding, development, scaling, growth. It's a huge idea that I have. So by putting this content out there, what am I doing? I am connecting with founders just like yourselves who may be on the right path and who align with my values, with my way of thinking, and the values of our incubator, the values of our partners, such as family offices and angel investors. And I hope to find a good fit. So this is public speaking. Yeah, this is speaking opportunities, right? So you got to do those two to create brand awareness and credibility. Cultivating a loyal and engaging engaged community. So I've done an episode on how to build a community around your startup. If you haven't watched that, go and watch that because you'll find some useful information in that. But providing exceptional customer service and experiences create loyalty. And that is part of your brand identity. You might be thinking, okay, why is MASH talking about brand identity? I thought it's brand strategy, and it's all about creating brand identities. No, your brand strategy is not just about the visual and the branding side of things. That's the common mistake. This is brand strategy, right? Creating a loyal and engaged community. And how do you do that? You do that through exceptional customer service and experiences. And where does this exceptional customer service and experience come from? It comes from your brand strategy. Do you get the connection there? So this is how the dots are connected. A brand strategy is not just about how your brand looks or feels. It is about exceptional customer service. It's about experiences. It's about user-generated content and testimonials that you get from your community, right? Even if you're in MVP, even if you're not a business that is live, right? But of course, if you're a business that is that has customers, paying customers and all that, then yes, you got to do this as a part of your brand strategy. Implement loyalty and referral programs. Again, by implementing loyalty and referral programs, you are extending the reach of your brand to build brand awareness, to build credibility, to build the trust, and of course, to get back customers and all that, right? Foster a sense of belonging and shared values. Okay, I took a pause there because this is what I've been trying to get at throughout this episode. Belonging and shared values. And that's why I told you the story of my community that I'm building. Founderama is a part of that, is exactly this. The sentence reflects that. Belonging and shared values. And that's what you need to do with your brand, right? Your startup needs to foster this sense of belonging. So the community and even investors need to feel the sense of belonging to your startup, and of course shared values. And that's why brand essence is so important. I started this episode with brand essence, vision, mission, and core values. I will do more episodes on exactly how to create these, and I might do a live workshop or webinar. Maybe I'll take one of you, ping me one of your case studies, and then I will analyze it and we'll go through that. We will talk about your current vision, mission, core values, if you have any, and how they stack up against what I perceive to be the right way to do it. And again, this is just my experience because, like I said, I'm an experienced brand strategist. I got 15 years of core strategy experience, 25 years of branding experience. I'll bring that to the table. So let's see. Ping me. I'll take up one of those and create a webinar or workshop out of that. Measuring and refining your brand strategy. Set measurable goals and key performance indicator, KPIs, right? So people do brand strategy or they pay someone to do brand strategy, but that's it. They never measure. And you know what? If you don't everything you do, you are missing out. The startup graveyard is full of startups that have not measured. Trust me, measuring performance, measuring strategies, measuring campaigns. It's the bedrock of successful startups and successful founders. And it's lacking in startups that fail or startups that don't, that don't measure. Okay, monitor brand sentiment and customer feedback. Monitor brand sentiment, customer feedback. How are customers perceiving your brand? How is the audience perceiving your brand? Very important. Analyze competitors and stay informed of industry trends. So competitors, your brand strategy must take into account how the industry trends are, how your competitors are doing, not to copy them, but actually to move away. So as Charlie Munger said, or was it not Charlie Munger? I think it was, yeah. When people are greedy, you got to be generous. Or if people are rushing towards this way, you got to move the opposite way, something like that, right? Continuously refine your strategy based on data-driven insights, right? So it goes back to that same thing. Okay, so today we spoke about brand strategy. I know it's a brief one. I'm trying to keep my videos, episodes to 20 minutes. I don't want to bore you with everything. And again, because I do a daily episode, it's got to be too much if I, do an hour. So if you got questions on this, ping me. I do have a 5 pillar brand strategy framework. If you're interested, DM me and I'll send you a link. And, you know, what I would normally charge $20,000 at a minimum to do as a strategy, I have condensed that into a 5 pillar framework that founders can do it on their own without spending that kind of money. So let me know if you DM me on LinkedIn or Twitter, and I'll send you a link to that. Okay. So that's all for today. I'll try and continue this theme for the rest of the week on branding and positioning and all that. So till next episode, go forth and prosper.